Hello viewers, I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with the topic Features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956. Today's topic is Features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956. But before I discuss this topic, I want to inform my viewers that name of my channel is @Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. Never forget. If you will search this channel in Google or YouTube, you will find videos relating to +3 first semester to 6th semester political science honors, videos of +3 first semester to 5th semester ethics and value, videos of +3 first semester to 2nd semester political and general elective, videos of +3 first semester environmental studies, and some videos of +2 second year and +2 first year relating to political science. Any video you want, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic. You'll get videos in English and Odia. Let us start. Features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956. Industrialization is considered as a mean to achieve economic development. There is no second opinion in this context. So, to speed up industrialization, every country frames its industrial policy. India is not an exception in this context. It also frames its industrial policy from time to time. Industrial Policy Statement 1956 is an industrial policy. Government revised its industrial policy 1948 through Industrial Policy Statement 1956. This policy is known as Economic Constitution of India and the Bible of State Capitalism. It is acknowledged by all scholars of all time that industrialization is a mean to achieve economic development. Without industrialization, economic development will not be possible. So, to speed up industrialization, every country frames its industrial policy from time to time. India is not an exception. It also frames industrial policy from time to time. And 1956 Industrial Policy Statement 1956 Industrial Policy Statement is an industrial policy. It has revised the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948. So, 1956 Industrial Policy Statement has revised the Industrial Policy Resolution 1948. And the Industrial Policy Statement of 1956 is known as the Economic Constitution of India and Bible of State Capitalism. So, Industrial Policy Statement 1956 or Industrial Policy of 1956 is a major industrial policy. So, what features it has? Features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956. Number 1. First feature. The first feature of this policy is that it emphasized the need to expand public sector, to build up large and growing cooperative sector. A cooperative sector is an autonomous association of people united voluntarily to meet their economic, social, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise, to encourage separation of ownership and management in private industries, and overall prevent rise of private monopolies. It provided the basic framework for the government's policy in regard to industries till June 1991. So the first feature of Industrial Policy Statement 1956 is that it wants to expand public sector. It emphasized the need to expand public sector. It emphasized the need to expand public sector. Number 2, to build up a large and growing cooperative sector. It wants to build up and expand the cooperative sector. So what is a cooperative sector? A cooperative sector is an autonomous association of people united voluntarily to meet their economic, social and cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. A cooperative sector is a sector where people voluntarily form an enterprise to fulfill their social, economic and political needs and aspirations. So, a cooperative sector is an autonomous association of people who united voluntarily to meet their economic, social and cultural needs and aspirations. It is a voluntary association of people, and they have formed this association to fulfill their economic, social, cultural needs and aspirations through a jointly owned and democratically controlled enterprise. So a cooperative sector is a sector where people jointly form an association to fulfill their social, cultural, political needs, and this voluntary body which is formed by people function democratically. So the first objective of Industrial Policy Statement 1956 is to expand public sector, to expand cooperative sector. Number three, to encourage the separation of ownership and management in private industry. It wants to separate the ownership of private industries and management of private industry. It means the private industry's owner will be in one place and its management staff, which consists of professionals, should be on other. It wants to separate the ownership body of the private sector and the management body of the private sector. Then prevent rise of private monopoly. It prevents rise of private monopoly. Mean private industry should not have monopoly. Then it provided basic framework for the government's policy in regard to industry till June 1991. It has provided the basic industry policy for the government till June 1991. It provided the basic framework for the government's policy in regard to industry till June 1991. It has provided the basic, it has provided the framework for the government's industrial policy till June 1991. This is the first feature. Second feature, it classified industry into three categories. It classified industry into three categories. Number one, Schedule A category. Schedule A category consists of 17 industries which was exclusive responsibility of state. In Schedule A category, there are 17 industries which are in the exclusive category of government or state. Out of these 17 industries, 4 industries, namely iron ammunition, atomic energy, railway and air transport, had central government monopoly. Out of 17 industries, 4 industries will have central government monopoly, like iron ammunition, atomic energy, railway, air transport monopoly. And new units, rest out of 17, 4 industries will be under central government, and rest units, new units in the remaining industry were developed by state government. Out of 17 industries, 4 industries will be in the hands of the central government, and rest industries will be in the hands of state government. State government can have new industry in this sector. This is the first category of industry. Second category, Schedule B, consists of 12 industries, was open to both private and public sector. In Schedule B, there are 12 industries which are open for private and public sector. Schedule B, consisting of 12 industries, was open to both private and public sector. In Schedule B, there are 12 industries which are open for both public and private sector. However, such industries were progressively state-owned. In the second category, there are 12 industries which are open for public and private sectors, but such industries were progressively state-owned. It means state will establish enterprise, but private enterprise will add something in order to improve it. In this sector, it is open for public and private sector. But such industries were progressively state-owned. Means state will establish enterprise, but private enterprise will add something in order to improve it. In the public sector, state will establish enterprise, government will establish enterprise, but private sectors will help to improve it. Then Schedule C category, it includes those industries not included in above two schedules, were open to private sector. In C category, there were some industries which are not included in Schedule A and Schedule B category. It is open for private sectors. However, these industries were controlled by state through license entered under the Industrial Act 1951. In Schedule C, there are some industries which are open for private sectors, but state regulate them through issuing license on the basis of Industrial Act 1951. So now we will discuss the third feature of this industrial policy statement 956. This act stressed the importance of cottage and small scale industry. This act stressed the importance of cottage and small scale industry for expanding employment opportunities and for wider decentralization of economic power and activity. Another feature of this policy is that it wants to expand. It gives priority to cottage and small scale industries for employment generation, and it wants wider decentralization of economic power and activity. It believes in wider decentralization of economic power. It gives power to different bodies, especially local bodies. It believes in division of economic power. Economic power should not be in one place. It should be in the central government, state government, and local governments. Fourth, this resolution also called for exports. This resolution also called for efforts to maintain industrial peace. This resolution also stress for industrial peace, means to avoid strike and lockout. So this resolution also called for efforts to maintain industrial peace. It gives priority to industrial peace, means to keep away from lockout and strike. And a fair share of the income from production was to be given to the toiling mass. Number one, it gives priority to maintain industrial peace, means to keep industry away from strike and lockout. Again, it gives priority to a fair share of the income from production was to be given to the toiling mass. It wants to give a share of production to toiling mass, means middle class people who are laboring hard to fulfill their livelihood to achieve objective of democratic socialism. It wants in one hand to maintain industrial peace, to keep the industry away from strike and lockout. In another side, another aspect of this policy is that it wants to give a share of production to the toiling mass, means middle class people who are working hard to fulfill their livelihood to achieve the purpose of democratic socialism. So these are the main features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956. Now discuss criticisms of the policy. This policy is criticized on some ground. So on which ground it was criticized? This policy was criticized because it reduced the scope for the expansion of private sector significantly. It is criticized because it has reduced the scope of private sector significantly. How? The private sector was kept under state control through a system of license. It has reduced significantly the scope of private sector through issuing of license. To open new industry by private capitalists, or to expand production obtaining license from government was a prerequisite. If a new unit will be established by the private capitalists, or if production will have to be increased, the permission of government is necessary through license. So this policy is an obstacle for expansion of private sector. So this policy is an obstacle for the expansion of private sector. So in this policy we have discussed major features of Industrial Policy Statement 1956 and its criticisms. I request my viewers to subscribe my channel, so news videos will come to you, and aware of your friend to subscribe, so some students will be benefited. Never hesitate to give help to anybody. To give help to anybody, it is a symptom of a human being. Thank you. Have a good day.